Mutiny. That is the only word for what's happening to Pierre Poilievre right now. This isn't just another Ottawa gossip story. This is what happens when you try to import American-style MAGA politics into Canada, and they start to fall apart.
A third Conservative MP crossed the floor, and it tells us a lot about how far Canada will and won't follow the U.S. down the MAGA rabbit hole. Listen, Dave, this isn't just a resignation. It's a direct hit to the leadership of the Conservative Party.
And let's be honest, the timing could not be worse. Parliament just wrapped for the Christmas break, Poilievre's leadership review is coming up in January, and then boom, Michael Ma crosses the floor. But the real story isn't just that he left.
It's why he left and what he chose to say on the way out.
Because Ma's statement reads like a polite Canadian note with a very sharp blade tucked inside. He's not ranting. He's not throwing accusations. He's doing something way more damaging. He's describing the exact kind of politics he refuses to be a part of anymore.
And if you're Pierre Poilievre, that should scare you a lot more than any attack ad.
So, in the next 12 minutes, we're going to break down what Ma said, what he didn't say, and why this could be the start of something bigger inside the Conservative caucus. But before we even get into Ma's letter, we have to talk about the one moment that explains why this keeps happening. Because Poilievre was asked a very simple question after the last MP left. Are you going to reflect on your leadership style? And his answer was basically, no.
No pause, no, oh, I'll listen, or no, I'll try to do better. Just no. And that's when you saw the problem plain as day. He isn't adjusting because he can't.
He's heading into a leadership review in January, and he needs his most hardline US-style base to show up and back him. If he softens now, they turn on him, so he stays locked in.
Which means the MPs who still want a serious Conservative Party, the kind that can win normal Canadians, well, they're stuck watching the leadership double down on division.
And some of them are deciding they'd rather leave than spend the next 2 years defending that at the doors.
And that's the split. Poilievre is trying to hold the loudest part of the base, but it's costing him the middle, and it's costing him a lot of MPs.
Now, keep that in mind, because when you read Michael Ma's statement, you can see exactly where he lands in that fight.
Well, first, listen to how Ma frames this. He says he listened carefully to the people of Markham Unionville, and he reflected with his family on the direction of the country.
And that matters, because he's telling you this wasn't impulsive. This wasn't just him being in a bad mood. This was a decision made at the kitchen table after hearing what people actually think.
Then he drops the line, "This is a time for unity and decisive action for Canada's future." That's not a generic statement. That's a contrast. Unity versus division, action versus obstruction.
And then he goes even further. He says he concluded that Mark Carney is offering the steady, practical approach that Canada needs. And he lists the priorities he's hearing at the doors: affordability, a strong economy, community safety, and real opportunities for young people and families.
And you notice what's not on that list? He's not saying people want constant political warfare. He's not saying people want daily outrage. He's saying they want results.
Then comes the line that lands like a hammer. I entered public service to help people, to focus on solutions, not division.
And that sentence is the whole story. Because you don't write that unless you're telling Canadians very clearly what you think the current team has become.
Exactly. He didn't need to mention Poilievre by name. That line does it all for him.
And this isn't happening in a vacuum. We heard similar language from Chris D'Entremont when he crossed the floor. Different MP, but the same thing. The leadership style, the tone, the internal culture, all the same idea.
Yeah, basically both of them are saying, I didn't sign up to be part of a Maple MAGA chapter funded by American billionaires with too much free time and not enough therapy.
Americans interfering in our politics isn't new, but it used to be subtle. A nudge here, a whisper there.
Oh, not anymore. When you put this resignation beside the rise of Maple MAGA, the picture really snaps into focus. It's not random, it's coordinated. The separatist cheering, the anti-Canadian rhetoric, the U.S. influencers suddenly obsessed with our politics, it all lines up with the national security strategy of 2025.
But here's the twist, everybody. Canadians are picking up on it faster than the people pushing it expected. Maple MAGA tried importing this U.S. agenda like it was duty-free, but guess what?
Canadians aren't buying it. Not in Nova Scotia, not in Markham, not in Alberta, and clearly not inside the Conservative caucus. Because Maple MAGA isn't conservatism. It's American chaos with an F. Trudeau bumper sticker slapped on top.
And we have to look at the timing too, because this is not a coincidence that this is happening now. These MPs aren't drifting away slowly, they're sprinting. They see what's coming in January, the leadership review, and Poilievre is walking into having lost 3 MPs and basically most of his credibility.
Yeah, imagine the scene. You're clinking glasses with your leader on Wednesday, and on Thursday you're sitting behind Mark Carney holding a brand new red folder. That jump tells you how bad the internal toxicity really is.
But these MPs, they're choosing stability over chaos, and they want career longevity over these conspiracy theories that Poilievre keeps pushing.
Yeah, because his whole approach is to promote rage, echo Trump talking points, and create conflict. Pick a target, keep people angry, and hope nobody notices your caucus is cracking. The base may be eating that up, but the regular Canadians are disgusted by it.
Because here's the thing that Trump's chumps and Maple MAGA don't anticipate. Canadians can recognize a U.S. political infection when we see it. We spent the last decade watching it in HD, thank you very much.
Yep, we watched January 6th, we watched the attacks on courts, journalists, scientists, and teachers. And now we're watching Donald Trump treat Canada as a vassal state, threatening to seize our resources and charge us protection fees.
Canadians looked at that and said, yeah, hard pass. And you know what? They didn't count on us having critical thinking.
Meanwhile, Mark Carney is just quietly winning. His whole brand is calm, steady, boring competence, which suddenly looks like superhero material compared to the theatrics on the other side.
Even conservatives who used to be anti-Carney are now thinking, well, at least he's not tweeting at the Bank of Canada from a tanning bed.
So let's put numbers on this for our American friends watching who love the data. Liberals are now at 171 seats. A majority is 172, 1 seat away.
Poilievre isn't just losing an MP, he's watching Carney drift closer to total control without even needing an election.
Poilievre's response was predictable. He betrayed his voters. But that argument only works if Canadians still see Poilievre as the affordability guy.
And they don't. When your brand becomes constant conflict, you stop sounding like someone who's going to lower grocery bills and start sounding like the guy who's screaming at the barista.
And the Liberal House leader put it bluntly. There are conservatives who don't agree with Poilievre's approach. That's not a conspiracy theory. That is a sitting MP telling us, hey, the other team is texting us saying they hate their coach.
There is a Conservative Party that Canadians could respect again, a party focused on trade, innovation, and actual Canadian values.
But that version of the party is suffocating every time Maple MAGA hijacks the bus and drives it into a snowbank.
That's why you're seeing floor crossings. These are people saying, can someone please take the wheel? I'd like to finish my term without appearing in an American documentary about how Canada fell.
And here's the fun twist for Canadians. If Poilievre stays, it actually helps Carney in the long run. Canadians are getting wise to this kind of politics. They know how this movie ends.
But you know what? We can't be complacent. You have to stop extremism early or you pay for it later. So as much as it helps Carney, I would love someone in opposition that actually is competent.
So January is actually the moment of truth. Poilievre walks into his review with a caucus bleeding MPs, a party split down the middle, and a leadership style described as chaotic.
Not exactly a Churchill moment.
You can say that again. It's more like a guy yells at spreadsheet and hopes it goes viral.
His whole pitch has fallen apart. He claims Canada is broken. Well, sorry, the GDP is up, jobs are up, trade is booming, and Mark Carney looks like a statesman, while Poilievre looks like he's losing complete control.
So the big story right now isn't just that another MP crossed the floor. is that Canada still has a political immune system. We are not the USA.
And we still have voters who can spot extremism, MPs who can say enough, and leaders who don't fold just because someone in Washington raises their voice. Jamil Jabani, anybody?
Maple MAGA basically overplayed their hand. They thought Canadians wanted chaos. Turns out, Canadians want something radical: stability.
So here we are, one MP away from a majority government for Carney, one meltdown away from a Conservative leadership collapse completely.
Maple MAGA thought that they could take over Canada, but they forgot one tiny detail. Canadians don't do cult politics.
We do common sense. But here's the thing, a lot of these Conservatives don't belong in comment sections anymore. They get buried, they get hijacked, or they just disappear.
And that's why we launched something new, our private Facebook group, Unfiltered North.
It's a space for people who actually want to talk things through. There's no shouting, no piles-ons, no outside interference, no bots or trolls. Just Canadians asking hard questions and having real conversations about where we're headed.
If you've been watching these videos thinking, I wish there was somewhere to dig into this without the noise, that's exactly what Unfiltered North is for. And that's where we're going to leave you today. Things are moving fast, the cracks are widening, and January is going to tell us a lot about where this country and the Conservative Party are headed.
And if you want to support what we're doing directly, the A-Team membership on YouTube keeps this channel independent and unapologetically Canadian. All the links are below, so join us where the conversation actually continues, and thanks for watching. And if you want to see how Canada is actually being looked at by the rest of the world, check out yesterday's video where we are winning. Canada's #1 in so many polls. You've got to check out the video to see just how much the world respects us.
So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.